Hello and welcome to DCP SideQuest episode number 134, another Elden Ring podcast coming right at you.
You know it. You know it.
Like, guys, I'm so sorry. I wanted to play other games. I swear. I wanted to play Tiny Tina's. I wanted to check out Tunic.
That's
I
the
haven't.
boat. That's the. I'm paddling in the same boat right now. I was like, yeah, Tiny Tina sounds amazing. Like, this is exactly what I want to play.
Yeah.
Then Elden Ring's like, no, you don't.
You have to.
Elden Ring just makes things. It makes things faster. I was telling you. I was like, Elden Ring was like, you got 2 days to play Tiny Tina. You better be done. It's like, okay, I'll finish the game. And I was like, now you're back.
How long was Tiny Tina?
I didn't actually count the hours, but we did it. It was definitely a shorter campaign. Like it was nowhere like comparable to like Borderlands 3. So it was definitely it felt like a sort of like DLC campaign length sort of thing. So I mean, we did it in 2 days of playing. It wasn't like 2 full days. I want to say probably 10 hours. Maybe
okay,
10,
that's pretty short.
But, I mean,
That's bite size.
yeah, but bear in mind we like because of the way we were playing it and like we basically focused on like the golden line. So obviously we didn't do as you're going through, there's a bunch of side quests, a bunch of stuff you can start doing on the map, and like we did like a few things here and there. But obviously we also finished the game at, I think level 30, and I think 40 is like level cap. So obviously we were like 10 levels beyond
40.
that point. Yeah. So I feel like that is if you kind of did the whole side quest and tried to sort of get to that point where you get to the end and you unlock like mythic, and then obviously you can kind of do more customization stuff, then you probably easily get like a good like 20 hours out of it. And then obviously if you want to do some endgamey stuff, so I think there's definitely stuff to enjoy and stuff to like. There's some decent meat to the game, but it's not comparable to say like a Borderlands release, if you see what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is it? Seems we're on Wonderlands. What did you think about it?
Yeah.
How was it?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. It was like I enjoyed the experience like overall. I think it's like I personally thematically I much prefer Tiny Tina's Wonderlands to Borderlands. Like when I think about it, like I enjoy playing Borderlands, but I've never really been big on the whole just the general theme of it. Like it's just alright, but it's not like hooked me. So I like the whole sort of D&D stuff.
Okay, yeah. Is it the D&D stuff? Like I'm curious what specifically made you like Tiny Tina's better than say base Borderlands type of.
Oh, sorry. Game. Yeah. It's the more sort of like it's the fantastical sort of like dragons and like classes like that, as opposed to sort of just like Mad Maxy style in a desert sort of thing.
Okay.
So I liked. Yeah, I mean, like obviously at its core, it's still very much like Borderlands that but yeah, having like the magical abilities and stuff. I feel like there's some parts that was sort of maybe a little bit oversold because they spoke beforehand about like all these different spell permutations and things, but like a lot of the spells were quite similar. You go through and some of them look like visually different, but then like in a very traditional Borderlands way, you have many versions of the same spell, much like you have many versions of the same gun. So in my whole time playing, like I didn't see, maybe I just haven't discovered them, maybe they didn't drop for me, but I didn't see that many drastically different spells. Like the way they were sort of marketing it before, I thought to myself, oh, maybe there'll be like, a good like 20, 30, 50, maybe even like 100 spell combinations. But I think really it boiled down for me to like a lightning spell, a fire spell, a healing spell, a dark magic spell, and like maybe one other. And it was like I didn't see much more than that.
You're coming off Elden Ring.
yeah. But I did like the one thing. The thing that again that I really like as well is that there's plus and minuses. Obviously, from Borderlands, you have the Vault Hunters, all of whom are very unique, have their own characteristics. But I do like the whole create your own character thing.
Yeah.
Because obviously, it is a first-person shooter, so you don't really see them that much. But like being able to create like orcs and elves and just like completely whatever you want was really nice. But again, one of the things that sort of felt a little bit stripped back was that you pick your primary class, and then you have one skill tree. So obviously you come from Borderlands, and you're like, well, my Vault Hunter has 3, and I make my build between them. And what Tiny Tina's does is that once you get to a certain point in the story, pretty early on, like about 2-3 hours in, you can then multi-class. So you then choose a second class, which as a system is really cool because it's basically the same kind of system that they did in Guild Wars 1, which I really liked because then when you think about typical classes, you're like, all right, I'm a mage, that's what I do. Whereas like in Guild Wars, you could be like, I'm a warrior and a mage, or I'm a warrior and a necromancer. So you can create some really cool combinations. So same in this one, you can mix any of the 2 classes. So you can be, like I want to be spell shot with a guy with a massive hammer, or I choose 2 classes that carry pets. So now I've got 2 pets following me. So there's some cool stuff to do there. And then of course, when you do that, you then get 2 skill trees. I do still feel like it would have been nice if that was fleshed out a bit more, because even with the 2 skill trees, like you could only choose 1 action skill. I know in Borderlands you've always had 1 action skill and a grenade, but I feel like in a system like this, like the multi-class system at that point is like, well, okay, I've multi-classed, like I play Clawbringer and Berserker, so I've got like hammer, hammer and like frost axe, and it's like I don't truly get to feel the benefit of both of those because I have to choose one action skill. So I'm either using my
I
hammer,
see.
which still makes me feel like a Clawmaster, or I'm using my frozen axe, which makes me feel like a Berserker. I don't really feel like both, if you see what I mean. So I feel like some mixtures, unless you've got two pets following you, which is very visually obvious, I don't feel like you necessarily feel the benefits as much because you just basically get the passives a lot of the time. So I would have liked it if maybe when you multiclass, you get like two action skills and then you can do like hammer and axe. I feel like that would have been cool. So yeah, I definitely feel like there's some fun to be had because also once you get to max level, you can then just like change whatever your second class is like on the like on the, you can pick and choose and like mix and match them and whatnot. So you're locked in from your choice to begin with, but then when you get to endgame, you're not.
Okay.
So there's
That's nice.
definitely some flexibility there. But I do feel
there's
like
loot? Is there loot that interconnects multiple classes as well?
yes, yeah. So
Nice.
in how like in Borderlands when you have your Vault Hunters, you used to have like the class mods, and they would have like a lot of things in your nodes. You'll get drops. I don't know how they. I mean, I guess they must just sort of like be super randomized and like calculated based on I don't know maybe what you've chosen or something. But you'll have parts that will be like Clawmaster and Berserker or Clawmaster and Spell Shot or this that and the other. So I found like a legendary item that just so happens to line up with the two classes I chose. So then you kind of get the double nodes and stuff. So yeah,
Nice.
you definitely get a lot of those things. So I feel like maybe the best way to describe it is kind of almost like a bite-sized Borderlandsy experience with the D&D skin on it, because there's definitely a lot of fun to be had, and the gameplay is still very much what you know. If anything, I probably prefer the gameplay a little bit, just because sure there might not be as much variety to dig deep in your class, but because there are 6 different classes and some of the like action skills are quite different, that in and of itself felt quite cool.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you think about it, OG Borderlands, 3 characters, you'd have 3 skill trees. Actually, I think they added a 4th one, right? Towards the end of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's quite a bit more, but you get more flexibility with the Tiny Tinas because there's 6 instead of, say, 12 by the end of Borderlands 3. Um, yeah. I don't know what I like yet. I haven't played it yet because Elden Ring. But I'm definitely looking forward to it as a Borderlands fan. I really like the formula. I like to see them, I guess, iterate on it. Does it feel different enough from the Borderlands experience to warrant its own thing? You know, the Tiny Tina.
I mean, I feel like it probably also could have just been sold as like a DLC expansion to Borderlands 3. Because I mean, like it doesn't. Yeah, although I understand why they didn't because
I feel like they kind of have a marketing, or they're not. They have a little bit of a marketing conundrum because people think like, oh, it's like an expansion, like how they did Borderlands 2.
Yeah.
So this must be the same thing as like Borderlands 3 getting it, but actually it's a standalone game. So people who aren't like connected to the news or looking at all the marketing details might just offhand be like, oh, they did another DLC for Borderlands that's like Tiny Tina, right?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely feel. I mean, it is like it has enough of its own stuff to stand alone, but because it's not huge, I feel like it does still feel at its core like a DLC spin-off sort of thing. So I'm not quite sure where it's placed. Like for example, I mean, I haven't actually, obviously because I've got given a review code, haven't actually checked like what the price of it is. Like I wouldn't, and I mean that there's no like disrespect, but I wouldn't necessarily put it as like a full price game. I feel like it feels quite. I mean, again, like maybe it's because I golden lined it and I obviously like played through and like I enjoyed it. Like, I had a fantastic time playing it. But obviously, I did do it in 2 days. Whereas obviously, had I spent the time and done all the side quests, looked for the secrets and stuff, maybe it would have felt more like a fully fleshed experience. But I think it definitely felt like Borderlands Light is how I probably would describe it to a degree. You still have like all the stuff that you enjoy, and obviously with like a slightly different skin. There's some new stuff that is cool that I do really like, and they've definitely in a much better way than say if you think about Borderlands 2, that had the D&D expansion, I thought it was called again, the Tiny Tina one. That one was really cool. But obviously that one was very much like existing Vault Hunters with that skin. Whereas this one, they've really lent into it because, in between the missions, you have the Overworld, when you kind of go into this cool map with like bobblehead characters. And it's not just like, I'm just walking from point A to point B to get to a mission, like a kind of Super Mario interconnecting stage thing. There's stuff you do on the Overworld, which is kind of cool. Like you walk around and you have like, you walk through the grass in a Pokemon fashion and like enemies come out as like random encounters. And you can, if you don't want to like deal with them, you can punch them and get rid of them. But if you collide with them, you go into a random encounter, and then it's just a chance to just like fight like a wave of enemies. But that's like an RPG style sort of thing where you can kind of level up, and then when you're going around in a sort of Dark Souls-esque manner, like you can unlock shortcuts that like loop back on yourself to the map. So like there'll be little like bottle caps that you'll punch, and they'll open up these shortcuts, and suddenly you can like loop around, and there'll be like little hidden secrets where if you kind of go around the map, you'll do certain encounters and get little medallions which will unlock like different locations. So there's a lot of sort of stuff to do on the overworld, which I think they did a really good job of, because sometimes overworlds can literally just be like a means to walk from point A to point B. But I feel like they got to like, if anything, I feel like at some points I had more fun just like roaming around the overworld as a little like bobblehead. Because also in this game, when you do customize your character, you can create, you can adjust like sizes and stuff, but you can also turn off like the balance filter, so you can give yourself like a massive head. And then if you're a massive head character and you go on the overworld, your bobblehead is huge, so you're walking around just like it's great.
Great.
Real quick, the pricing for this is $60 for the main game.
Okay.
But they also have a $30 season pass. You can buy like a special edition, chaotic great edition that's $80, so you save $10 on the season pass.
So it is a full price $60, and then there's the season pass.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
It gives me pause based on what you said about it. Like if it doesn't feel like a fully priced game out the gate, plus they're selling $30 worth of season pass.
Well, did you do anything with the end game? Like, did you interface?
No, see,
with the
that's
end game
yeah, that's not just yet. That's why I feel like maybe I can't quite make that statement completely just yet, because obviously I've also played it in the middle of like a content rush from like a point of view. So obviously like I've had to play it as like a busy person. I'm physically trying to get through it as quickly as possible. So I feel like I'm probably the worst person to try and say it's got value or not, because I like literally I've probably done like 3 or 4 side quests out of like tons of them throughout the game. So I feel like if you played it as it's intended, like if you kind of go through, you do your multi-class, you go through, you encounter, because also I feel like the game is structured as well, whereby you should be doing side quests, because if you just do the main lines, the main story missions jump in levels quite drastically. So it got to the point where, as I kind of got about halfway through the game, like the next quest was like 5 levels above. The one after that was like 10 levels above. So they clearly expect you to be like in between, go to the overworld, do random encounters, do side quests, level up like organically. So yeah, we definitely played it in the unconventional manner. So I do feel like had I sat down and like taken those appropriate breaks to level appropriately for the next mission, then I think I would have easily got like double my playtime. And then if that's the case, then yeah, 100% it would be regular game value.
And I guess,
So probably, yeah.
I was gonna say that I guess also with them having a season pass and bringing out more content, you'd probably want to jump into the end game and get like the perfect weapons and spells and et cetera, to prepare for that new content coming out. So maybe that's where the other playtime comes from.
Yeah.
I'm watching the trailer
slower.
for it. The Borderlands art style works really well in this kind of fantasy setting.
Definitely.
It works.
Yeah. The hand
This
painted
looks
stuff,
cool.
It does look really good from what I've seen, because I've obviously watched a few videos on it, and I'm, again, as a Borderlands fan, I'm very excited to jump in officially and play it, but I don't want to be distracted with other games. With that one game,
Yeah.
Did you get any legendaries that stood out in your playtime?
I got a few. I got a couple. Actually, I got a. So I was touching a little bit earlier on like the spell variety. While there weren't like too many drastically different spells, the regular spells that I got, like the lightning ones, were kind of like cool down a little bolt of lightning, and it's cool enough. But then I got a legendary version of one of them, and then it rained down like chain lightning everywhere. So it looked much bigger and much more exciting. One of the ones that I did actually enjoy was that I got legendary armor piece. And when you first create your character has like a basic armor set, and you can change the colors. But like if you're equipping more body armor throughout the game, for the most part, it doesn't change your appearance until you start getting legendary ones, and then it actually changes like quite drastically. So I went from like having my regular body armor to having like this cloak with like feathers all over it. I was like, oh, this actually looks quite cool.
Very cool. Wait, is there full-on armor slots now, or just one armor slot?
Not full armor slots. You basically, so what you equip now is you equip like amulets and rings, or like necklaces and rings, which obviously you don't see, but they're just like 2 of the stat things.
Mhm.
You have your class, and then the armor piece is like your class mod kind of thing, but it looks like the icon in game actually looks like a piece of like body armor basically. Um, and that'll be the equivalent to like a chest piece. So there's no like more granular armor slots, but that's like the equivalent to like your chest armor. And yeah, that's the one that basically like as you get the rarer ones, I think I'm pretty sure it's just the legendaries because any of the other ones I equipped didn't seem to change the way that I looked. I could be wrong. It might have been that I just didn't encounter them.
Mhm.
But the only one that physically changed my character appearance was when I put a legendary on. But some of
Okay.
those are actually quite cool. So I feel like, and especially when you start getting the ones that like actually match your class archetype, they do change the sort of look for that kind of feel. Like the fact that I've got a Clawmaster one who's like got a Viking style hammer and I've got like Ravenclaw kind of armor, like makes sense.
Nice.
So I feel like they've probably done a pretty good job of like leaning into like the thematics for the classes.
Very cool.
I'm definitely looking forward to trying it for sure. It's up
Mhm.
there
Yeah.
with the games that I definitely will hop into eventually.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
I'm
definitely
probably gonna wait
100%.
for a sale on this one.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah, I think it's definitely what I definitely like. If you're a Borderlands fan, 100% you'll get like some enjoyment out of it. If you're like a D&D fan or like that kind of or like you like your looty shooty fix, I definitely think it's yeah. It's also like it doesn't have to be super daunting. It's like some like casual fun you can kind of sit and jump into. Like it's not necessarily as like I know for example if someone wants to get into Borderlands 3, it can actually be quite daunting because the game is pretty big. Like to get through that whole thing.
Yeah.
So I do feel like it's balanced in probably a good way.
Nice. Did you enjoy the story? From what you can remember the story?
It was. I mean,
Because
it was all right.
for reference, Borderlands 3 main story was rough.
Yeah.
People were a
Yeah.
little
It was
upsetting.
hard to get through.
the side quests were amazing. They were
They were.
they were by far the best
They were
story in
great.
the game. The main
Yeah.
story
Yeah.
of Borderlands 3 terrible. So
Oh, streamers.
I feel yeah.
Oh,
I feel
God.
like I'm also probably like the worst person to ask for that. Not because I play through it fast. Like, I play through the story. I mean, the story's alright. Like it's but for me, it's weird. Like I've always enjoyed Borderlands from a gameplay point of view, but
Sure.
like I've never really enjoyed the stories in Borderlands. I don't Borderlands humor to me has never been funny. Like I've always found Borderlands humor that kind of like they're trying to be funny kind of humor, and I'm just like and I get sometimes that is funny as a result of it, but yeah, to me it's just always just gone completely just like past me. It doesn't click with me. So from the story point of view, it was pretty pretty obviously basic because like Tina's obviously running the campaign, so like she's like leading the story. There's some funny aspects. I think yeah, like Tina's always got some really funny lines, and I feel like if
Yeah.
anything, I appreciate this more so than say like the Borderlands stuff. And I feel like there's some fun sort of like I guess this is probably the right term for it, but like maybe not fourth wall breaking stuff, but like some fun stuff where like it takes you out of like the experience that like the dungeon master should do. Like trying to sort of tell the story. Like she might drop like a Cheeto on the board, and then like. And the fact that it's there, but now she has to make a story around it. She's like, oh, no, I know there is a mystical barrier that has appeared. I definitely didn't leave this here. And then and suddenly it becomes like the quest. So there's some funny parts like that. I definitely think there's some funny dialogue, but story-wise, it's like was a bit basic.
Sure. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Tina's definitely, I think she's my favorite character from Borderlands. Like
Mhm.
her character's always kind of crazy. I find her more
Mm.
funny, actual funny than than some other characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm happy she's got her own thing.
But no,
Cool.
definitely worth. Yeah, I definitely think you'll enjoy. I think there's some fun to be had. The classes are pretty cool. I like the Clawmaster because I basically have a giant hammer. Some people have been saying the Clawmaster is a little bit weak, but like I didn't do like the end gamey stuff, so I'm not sure. Maybe from like a scalability, like
Right.
top sweat end game point of view, it might not be optimal. But I just enjoy going around with a hammer and like bam and throwing it out and like very sort of God of War esque because I can throw it out, it creates like lightning, and I can pull it back through targets and stuff. So it's kind of cool.
Nice. Sounds fun.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, I
I
appreciate
think the only
your.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, what was it?
I would say that my only other one, gripe is that like melee is a slightly bigger thing this time around, but it's melee's in a weird place where it's like it's slightly bigger in that like you have melee weapons and there's lots of really cool ones. There's some really badass looking swords, so they've made it bigger in that regard where it makes it exciting for it. But melee still just doesn't do a great deal of damage, so you still wouldn't really go and use melee over your guns. Like unless you're like if you're a Clawmaster, my melee is obviously using my super. But the actual just regular clicking the right stick melee sort of thing, like it still ultimately serves the same purpose as always, which is just like batter trash mob back. which is kind of a shame because yeah, sure you can spec a little bit more into melee damage, but I don't. They even said before launch they're like it's not going to be the point where you're making melee builds per se, and it seems like a shame because you've literally got like
Yeah.
hammers and scythes and swords and great swords and like axes and like so many really cool design weapons, and for a lot of the time you just see it on your back because it's just like that's the best bit. So
That is a bit of a weird choice, huh? Where it's like
mm,
you can't make a melee build that you can go into endgame and like that's your thing. Your thing is
yeah.
using
Especially
the
for
sword.
fantasy dungeons and
Mm.
Yeah.
like
Unless, of course, like unless someone's done it now and like maybe they just like they found a way to make it work. Because I think sometimes the idea with the melee weapon is it's supposed to sort of like sometimes buff your other things. Like there might be something where like off the back of a melee you get like a short damage buff, so it might like lean into something bigger. But to my knowledge, unless like again, I'm sure some of the Borderlands sweats might find a way to do it. But to my knowledge, like there's not like a just get this great sword and just slash 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 and things die. So yeah, that was a bit of a shame. But overall,
interesting.
I enjoyed it.
During your playthrough, did you find yourself shooting like generic guns most of the time, or was it like fantasy based type of stuff most of the time, or
Definitely a
bit of both?
mixture, but not as many fancy ones as I would have liked. I feel like whether it's really hard to know because in a game like this where you get a lot of random drops, I'm like, did I just get really unlucky? And was it just so that like my whole playthrough I kept on being given like a load of like regular guns?
Yeah.
Or is it just that like
You've seen
they
the
chose
same SMG from Borderlands 3 and 2, you know?
Yeah, exactly right. Like there's a few like I got some really cool ones. Like one of the ones where like when you go to reload, it's got the crystals bubbling in the back, and you sprinkle like the salt to like reload it. It looks super cool. So I've got a couple of them, but like outside of that, I didn't really get many. That I thought given the sort of big like D&D like magical influence, I thought like I'd be getting so many of these like crazy looking like magical weapons. But yeah, for a lot of the time, I basically had sort of like some pretty basic shotguns, some ARs, and then like one fancy looking weapon. But again, maybe just because I golden lined it and sped through like really really fast, maybe I've just like didn't get great drops and missed out a little bit. So it's hard to like say, but I didn't see too many. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, that's too bad because like that was one of the things I was looking forward to with Tiny Tina, is like a kind of a revamp of the system. Not necessarily revamp,
Yeah.
like not redo the system, but like give new classes. Like some sort of crystal saber that shoots.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it'd be cool to see
Yeah.
a whole slew of weapons like that in a fantasy game with a Borderlands engine behind it. So
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Eric, I have two questions for you. They're unrelated, though.
Sure.
First of all, what is that tome that is sitting behind you?
yeah,
Oh,
what
that
is
is,
that, Tom?
Book
Jesus.
of knowledge.
Like,
How big is that thing? It's like half your desk.
I'll go and retrieve it.
that thing is freaking massive.
Right? I just realized how big it is.
Okay.
Jesus,
Getting
it is
bigger.
huge.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, is it a box?
It's the Tiny Tina Dungeon Master
Oh,
box.
okay.
Nice.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That
it's
thing
the
is
Tome of
big.
Knowledge.
You should next D&D when you go to Dungeon Master, whip that out and people go, whoa,
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm serious now.
I'm not ready for this.
My second question, you should definitely put that on a bookshelf. My second question, and you're the only person I know to ask about this, and I figured I'd wait till the show started to ask you.
Sure.
Do you know anything about Monster Hunter World 2? Is there anything, any kind
No.
of knowledge
Eric,
coming
have
out about that?
Capcom called you and said
Yeah. Have you given specific detailed notes on what you want in Monster Hunter World 2?
I told them we just need beards, many beards, many beards.
You know,
No,
sometimes
unfortunately
there's
not.
rumors about games that get circulated. Only the people who track these things like actually kind of remember those rumors.
Yeah, no. I mean, yeah, I've been sort of like following that stuff, but yeah, like as far as I'm aware, not really. I mean, it's other than the usual kind of like cycle where obviously they've just said like I think it was an interview with Ryoja like a little while ago, obviously just talking about the success of Monster Hunter and obviously how they're super happy in Capcom and they have big plans for like, the future and obviously continuing like their work and whatnot. And we just know that of course Riot has a different team, so I think that.
Oh,
but
okay.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
interesting.
So because there's
Isn't
always
it the B
been
team?
two Monster Hunter teams basically. There's like the mainline team, and then like the portable team. So Rise falls under the portable team, which obviously means so basically that the world team would have been like idle since that. So
Making
they
World
obviously
2.
wouldn't have been. Yeah, exactly right. So that's basically as far as it goes. We just know that like they'll be working on something. But no, unfortunately, no like actual rumors of like I know what you mean. Like sometimes there's those like the little like NeoGAF ones that sneak out, and someone's like, oh yeah, they registered a trademark for this thing, but yeah, nothing
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Okay. What
Mm.
like your personal expectations? Do you expect to see that game in the next couple of years? Do you think?
I feel like it would. I feel like personally, I think they would announce it next year, and then we would see it. Well, it's weird because for Monster Hunter, normally there's always a Monster Hunter every year. Like there's the Monster Hunter, then there's the expansion, then we hear about the next one,
Mm-hmm.
and there's like they kind of go like that. So, but obviously, when there's a generational jump, sometimes that gap gets a little bit bigger. So I feel
Sure.
like given that Sunbreak is coming out this year and it's launching in summer, and then they'll do the predictable. You get a year of support following that. So then Sunbreak will then go from like June to June the following year, which would therefore make me think that like either. I mean, I don't honestly think it would happen, but like either we would get like a trailer this year dropping in like the Game Awards or something, like a super teaser one. But I think the more likely thing would be like next year, as Sunbreak is coming towards the end, they then drop their teaser for like, here's what our new plans are. And
Yeah.
then probably like, I mean, I'd love to say like end of next year, but I feel like given the sort of the jump to, I mean, I assume this would be probably exclusive PS5 and Xbox Series X. Then I feel like
Let's hope
2020.
so.
I hope so. Yeah. So I feel like 2024 will be like more real.
Mhm.
Maybe they do like they target like early because recently a lot of the releases have been like early year, right? So maybe we'd be looking at like March 2024 or something.
Okay. Okay.
Potentially,
I can wait
yeah,
that long.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah,
be
that
down
would be
with
cool.
that.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
A next generation World
that would
sounds
be
Would be
amazing. Actually,
amazing.
because
No, it would be amazing.
World looked pretty sick even on a PS4
It
or an
did, yeah.
Xbox. But to give them the extra power of the new consoles, the PS5 and the Xbox 4,
Yeah,
would
that'd be amazing.
definitely
all
looking
about
forward
that.
to seeing that.
Plus, you can.
Yeah,
Oh,
that'd be
have
cool.
you tried World on the Steam Deck?
Oh yeah.
I've only tried Monster Hunter Rise on the Steam Deck.
Right.
Mm.
Because World looks
Yeah, I
pretty
haven't
good on
tried
PC.
World.
So I wonder
It
how.
does,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wonder how good
I
it would
played
be on
through it a
PC.
second time on PC. I was so impressed with it. I played it
Really?
the first time on PS4, and then I played it again on PC, like all the way through.
Hmm.
You know, from what I understand, the Steam Deck is roughly equivalent to a PS4.
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Hardware
Like
wise.
that's the kind of performance you can expect out of games.
Yeah.
So Monster Hunter World at 30 FPS handheld sounds actually pretty good to me.
Yeah, it does. Right.
And Rise works wonderful on the Steam Deck, by the way, Epic. Or anyone who's listening who didn't hear me
Does that
talk
run at
about it
60
before.
by any chance?
It's definitely over 40. I need
over
to load it
40.
up again and put the FPS on there so I can
A little counter.
see exactly.
Nice.
Yeah. It
Oh,
looks
can you
great.
do that on Steam Deck?
Apparently.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Have you
You put an
downloaded?
FPS counter. You put like all that stuff that you'd get on the side of your screen when you're playing a PC game. If you're a nerd like me, like how much RAM you're using, how hot your CPU is getting, much more battery you've got, like all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Little stats, nerd
You
stats
also
for
can
Steam Deck.
one button hit 30 FPS mode to save your battery, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh. That is cool.
I'm dying for this thing to get here, man. I'm so jealous of Watts.
Same.
I'm unfortunately just playing Elden Ring.
Yeah.
Not on
Have
the Steam
you
Deck.
bought Elden Ring on PC yet to play it on the Steam Deck?
I
To
haven't.
try it?
I played it a little bit on Steam Deck. It's great, but I just want to play my main character.
Oh yeah, obviously.
On my
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're still in your
So.
first playthrough, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously. So
How many hours into your first playthrough are you, Watts?
120, I think.
How much more game do you think you have?
I think I have like 3 areas. Of course, as you get later, the areas do get a bit smaller. They're not all Limgrave. You're not gonna
Yeah.
find like 40 dungeons in every single area you go to.
mhm.
But yeah, I think I would guess maybe like 30 hours or something.
You think you have 30 hours left for the
I would
To
think
comb
so
through
because I
everything?
have a massive area that I haven't
Yeah.
done much in, and then the
Yeah, I
other
find
one-
myself circling back and recombing through stuff in areas. Like
Yeah.
I'm right now, like
Mhm.
my main area that I'm going through is the volcanic area.
Oh.
And
I
That is
love-
such a cool spot. And how you
I
get there is so
love
cool
there.
too.
yeah, and I went through the front first, and ran past those
Yeah, I did too.
demon monsters, and then killed the butcher lady. And then I was like, how the hell do I get over there? And I was like, wait a minute, and retraced the map, ran into a bunch of crap that I wasn't supposed to run into, and then finally get all the way around it, and found myself going through the back door of the mountain. And I got fighting the boat guy. Oh, you got
kidnapped?
Kidnapped to get to the volcanic
Kidnapped
area?
First
or
time I got brought
invited?
there, kidnapped.
Oh.
I don't want to say much about it because it's kind of a spoiler.
Yeah.
Like if you're curious about how you get kidnapped,
you
want to
went on the
know
lift.
how that happens.
Oh,
Yeah.
the Academy, Harry Potter.
Yes.
Ah.
Yes. I made 2 mistakes early in that game. One of them was going to that academy way underleveled. Way underleveled.
What level were you?
So,
Any idea?
I don't remember, to be honest, like the number of level, but it was like, you know, the guys in the Burger King hats.
Yeah. BK broiler.
Those guys were to be avoided at all costs. Like I had to.
Yes.
I could take one of them on if I snuck up on him. But if there was 2 of them, or if one of them saw me coming, like they were one-shotting me. And I had to like hit him like 15 times. You know, it's
wow.
I have this like giant sword. I'm like,
You're probably like level 20.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like
I went there
30.
way too early. Way too early.
See, they pretty much. I get 2-shot by those guys right now, but I swing a big stick.
Yeah.
And
You also put out a tweet
did not have
earlier
a big
about your
stick.
vigor.
Yeah. So I've been rocking 15 vigor basically the entire time until recently. I was like, I want to try this mimic tier because I finally cleared the underground and progressed Randy's quest and all that stuff. And I was like, all right, I got to try this out. I'm like, what? Why is this not working? And then I read closely and I was like, oh, it needs 600 health or 660 health to summon. I was like,
it wouldn't let you summon it at all?
'cause
It'd be funny if it
My
killed
health-
you when you summoned it. Yeah.
my health was 540, and that's with a stat boost.
Not even close.
That's with the talisman
5.
to boost it. so then I spec'd, I went in and killed a bunch of stuff. Spec'd in. I think I'm level 75 now, and I spec'd up to
Level 75.
I'm level
with
75.
15 vigor.
17 now because I wanted to try the mimic
17
tier.
vigor.
Yeah.
You should have like 40.
Hell no.
There's 2 problems that I had. with the
Hold
mimic
on.
tier.
Let me finish. Let me finish. So I spec into I do 17 vigor. And I'm like, all right, let's try this freaking mimic tier out. And
Which give you what? 4 extra hit points?
What, for my character? I don't get hit. I'm either going to kill the enemy or I'm going to die.
No.
That's how I approach things. I killed the guy and going into the
No hit
capital.
run.
I killed the guy legit going to the capital with 15 vigor.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
The problem with the
Wait,
mimic guy is this is related to your story, is that when you call him up, he takes health instead of magic. And he takes a significant portion. How much was it? 600?
660.
660.
660.
660. Yeah.
Some bosses, when you enter a boss room, just run the fuck at you. You come up with this mimic tier, and you're sitting there summoning him, which takes
Yeah.
all your health, and then he comes and slashes you while you're still in that animation and immediately kills you.
So here's the other issue is that I think your health stat is also directly connected to your mimic. So
Yeah.
Yes,
if you're rocking 17 vigor, that mimic is flimsy.
The mimic also got nerfed significantly.
Right, but I leveled it up to level 3 just to see because I had some extra grove, whatever the crap it is, and to try it out. And then I saw him just get me just get demolished, and I was like, well, I wish I could go back to 15 vigor, put those into intelligence.
Oh no.
Yeah, what's
You
the
always
build you're
respect.
running right now?
I have
What's,
the most mishmash build. It's crazy because I haven't respect. I don't even know. I actually haven't discovered how to respec yet. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, I might
Fair
have
enough.
missed something on there. But I originally went strength dexterity, so I got like 30 points of strength, and then I got a fair amount of dexterity for certain weapons, and then I was like, I need faith, so then I threw a bunch into faith, so I got I think 25 or almost 30 faith.
This
and
is
then,
why you have
wow.
no health.
This is why you have no health.
Those are some big numbers in random categories.
and I do damage. I do significant damage. I can swap between several weapons and do some big hits. But what I'm finding now is I really want to dabble in magic. And so I've been I've needed some arcane for certain things. Like if you want to do dragon arts, You got to
Dragon.
like have some arcane in there. And then I've slowly been pumping up my intelligence. So I think I'm at like
Oh, you've literally spread everything.
Yes. I'm level 75 with 17
Not looking
vigor.
for a second playthrough, huh?
Oh
Well, no,
no.
I'm just like I'm having so much
Let's
fun just
dabble.
going through. Yeah, and eventually I can respec. So I'm like, let's dabble, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair
And
enough.
I'm already used to things basically killing me all the time. So as long as I can block or dodge, like any magic hits, I have to dodge magic because most likely the
Yeah.
magic's gonna kill me because I get chunked really, really fast.
Yeah.
But with the brass shield, you can block a ton of things. Oh, also I forgot to mention this entire time. So after beating Radigan, I've been using the Radigan Source Seal, so all my stats are boosted as well. But I take
you
additional
more
damage.
You really are.
You are
Glasgow,
playing
man.
in hard mode.
Oh, it's great! I love it.
Do you use the rune seals a lot? Like, do you keep those on pretty much all the time?
The rune seals?
The rune arc.
Yeah. Like,
Oh no,
The
I
rune
haven't.
arcs,
I haven't
yeah.
used any of those yet.
oh, you haven't?
Yeah, yeah. I've been saying anything that's like a consumable. I usually just like tuck away for a rainy day, like
And then
that.
never use. You realize you beat the game. You got like 40 of the most powerful items in the game.
Yeah, I'm like, unless I really need to like call in the big
Well,
guns,
that's
then I'll use
why-
it.
My strategy is like to keep a certain amount on me. So I won't go below that amount. But if I'm above it, I'm like, sure, I'll pop one of those things. Why not?
Well, the nice thing about the rune arcs is they just stay active as long as you don't die. So as long as you stay
Oh,
alive,
really?
it just keeps going. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like forever.
That's good to know. I should use that.
Yeah. So like I had to pop one at one point. I had to pop one just to carry the equipment that I was using. Right. It's like it was just a general
Nice.
stat boost that I would have had to like
Yeah.
change my build. But you get so many that by the end of the game, like you have so many of them, and you can
Okay.
farm them. I think rats give them to you.
Yeah, I feel like I've got like 30 on me right now because I get them all the time from various things. I'm like, oh, another
Yeah.
rune arc, all right. And I've heard about them boosting stuff, but again, so far I haven't really hit a wall in the game with the way I've been playing it. You know, like I have.
Where are you at?
Like I said, I'm going through the volcanic area and also the capital area. You know, and like the second
Capital area is so good.
Yeah, it really is, and also the second hidden city, the not Nocturne, but
Oh, wow.
Noxtella.
Noxtella. That's what. Yeah.
Those are some pretty big areas to be going through on 15 vigor. That's what I'm saying.
I'm telling you,
Those
man.
are some.
It keeps it interesting.
I'm literally the polar opposite to you, right? When I play these games, I'm like, I need a lot of health and a lot of stamina because I'm a Monster Hunter player, so I don't block, I roll. If in doubt, I roll.
Yeah.
I need to roll a lot. I need to roll a hell of a lot, and then so every time, and obviously I've had to respec loads because every time I make a video, I need to respec and then respec back.
Yeah.
And then, but whenever I respec, I'm like, my first thing is I need 45 vigor. I'm like, non-negotiable. I need this. I need this. And then the other day, like, I was doing a respec for one of my friends. Was like, I was screen sharing with him. He's like, no, 40's enough. I'm like, that extra 5. No,
Saves you.
no.
When I
need
finished
this.
the game, my health bar went halfway across the screen.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
literally.
That's what I need. I'm like, I
Amazing.
get hit so much because I also, but yeah, my playstyles are just like hella reckless as well. I'm just like, having been like a person that runs in with like blood or like double whips and stuff. I'm just like, I just want to run towards the enemy. I'm like, yeah, and then worry about it later. So I need that.
Yeah, my approach has definitely been sneak up and then try to stun them with like a heavy hit or something. And if that doesn't work out, like right now, the night guys, those are probably the worst because like I'm able to
Those
block
guys
quite a
suck.
bit.
Crucible Knights.
Well, the variety, what they have like,
In the city.
yeah, they've got
The-
like
the
regular
lightning
guys.
bullies.
okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're pretty annoying. So I'm still kind of like figuring out how I can comfortably take those guys out, aside from just learning every move and knowing what to dodge on there. Because like the
Yeah.
blocking, I put a fair amount into endurance as well, so I can block quite a bit, and then I have a few charms that boost the guard, and also have leveled up that brass shield. So as long as it's not a magic hit, I'm like I can tank quite a bit, and also as long as it's not behind me as well. So I have to watch out about that. Yeah.
Have you found the jellyfish shield yet?
No, I saw that on
Oh
a
my god.
tweet.
That's
I
pretty
was-
good shield. I think you might like it if you're using a shield a lot because it's light. It doesn't weigh as much as most heavy shield, but it has a lot of the benefits of a heavy shield.
Nice.
I was tempted to put points in strength just for the jellyfish shield.
Really?
Also,
It
it
looks
looks like a
so-
jellyfish.
It looks so good. It
And you hold it over
so
your head, you sprinkle jellyfish juice on you, and give yourself a buff.
Oh, nice. The jellyfish summon is my main summon. I've honestly just been using the wolves or the jellyfish because like The other thing too is like I don't rely on the summons to kill. It's more just distraction. So as long
Yeah.
as they can stay alive, like there's a
That's
lot of
why I like
bosses.
Thumbelina.
There's a lot of bosses where if they float like the jellyfish, half the attacks won't hit them. So like just squirt every now and then it'll distract the big boss, and then you can go and do some hits and all that.
It's
So,
interesting about the summon thing as well. I mean, I was thinking about it the other day because I know obviously you always have the whole kind of gatekeepy conversation with some people like, oh no, if you used a summon to kill something, it didn't count. It's some of the stupid stuff. But I feel like I was chatting to my friend about this the other day with some of the bosses. I feel like some of the bosses, because of these mechanics, they've almost been tuned under the assumption you will be using summons. Because there are some bosses where the window is so incredibly tight, where it's like
Yeah.
you need to be attacking something else for me to even breathe. Like
Yeah.
I just thought like I won't talk about any main bosses. Just like I just thought double Crucible Knights, but like literally them together, there's like such a tiny window between them, like stabbing. It's like I need you to attack something else for me to even be able to breathe. And, like, if I go to heal, that's I'm getting stabbed again. I'm just like, this must have been tuned under the assumption that you're going to be using these summons, like, or you're going to be spamming like an Ash of War or something like that. So I do feel like, I mean, I'm one of those people that I've used the summon for like all my stuff. So like, if people want to say you didn't complete the game because you used the mimic, I'm like, you can say whatever you want. But like, I do still feel like for some people, it's like, like they are expecting you to use it. It's a mechanic, right? So
I've seen this on a bunch of posts actually, where people were like, when you're playing a melee build in Elden Ring and you have to wait for the boss to finish his like 25 hit combo so you can go hit him once.
yeah.
That's
And
so
it's true, because they're just like nonstop, and then they'll do the tiny window where you can go hit them, and then it starts up all over again.
God
I
forbid
had to
you
heal
do
during
that
that window.
second swipe. God.
Yeah.
There was one boss fight though, I'll admit, that I felt like I was nearly cheating when there was actually a summon available to me, like at the boss door.
Hmm.
Like an NPC
yeah.
summon. So I summoned that person, and then I also had my fully powered pre-nerf mimic. I walked up in there, and this was a pretty like big boss, and one shot that boss, like didn't even like break a sweat. Like we kind of stood in the back, threw some shit at it every once in a while, and just kind of watched my
That's
friends
funny.
fuck that motherfucker up.
Yeah,
There's
I was
definitely-
fighting a boss, which I won't say which boss it is, although I think you guys might have, if you've done the manor, you may have fought the boss. But people who fought with pre-nerf mimic were like, I didn't even see half these moves that you're seeing in this boss fight. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure that's the case for a lot of things, where it's just you're so overpowering the boss because you're pretty powerful, and then you're also fighting with another one of you that you probably don't see some of the moves.
I probably got to about where you're at now with the pre-nerf mimic, and then I had to finish the game without it, and I could notice like a serious downgrade in my mimic performance. Like it was me and my mimic for a while. Like we'd high five after the fight, be like, "Yo, man, you killed it." I'm like, "You killed it too, man." Like we were getting to be pretty good friends, and then all of a sudden he just stopped holding his weight. He just stopped doing his job. It's like, where's the mimic for the old days? This guy's like some kind of stoner, like fucking I don't want to do shit anymore.
It's so true.
I'm telling, my favorite summon is Theralina, who is a finger maiden.
Okay.
She's my favorite summon because she can tank like a crazy lady. I just see her getting slapped, and then she just spams heal. She's just spamming heal over and over again.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
what's the name
and then
of this mimic?
Her name is Theralina. It's
I'm gonna Google this on the map real quick.
You get it from Saluvis.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm currently like looking. No, he's the sorcerer at the he's the bottom
fiddler.
tower. Oh, yikes! I haven't seen that part yet.
Everyone in the land talks about him, where they're like, they do give you little hints. He's like, oh, that creepy guy, and then it escalates and escalates until it's just like
in general.
that darling fiddler. Yeah. Oh, he turns people into puppets. That's his whole jam.
Oh,
that's his whole jam.
See, I've been looking for replacements for the summons that I've been using because, like, I want like super tankiness. So I did a little bit of research. I missed a dungeon back in the early part where you get I can't remember his name, but so you had to have two.
Igor?
No, it's lacerated tree root was the boss, which actually was still kind of tough, even though I was like higher level.
They are, because what are they doing? I couldn't tell you. I'm
Yeah, it
fighting them.
was
I'm just like,
just
I'll freaking
massive
out.
tree.
Stuff.
Yeah, this tree thing whipping around the dungeon. It was actually amazing. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I was
No
doing a
idea.
lot of damage with each hit because I was pretty leveled up, but like still, it was kicking my ass. But he gave a summon, but the problem is I've barely put any points into mind, so I have to level up mind. It requires
Oh, yeah.
100 FP to summon this guy, and like I only have like
Is it
77.
Lutel?
I can't
Lutel the
remember.
Headless?
Oh yeah, I think so.
I had him.
Yeah. He was quite good actually for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like
Very
2
tanky.
swords or something, right? Yeah, I think that's the one. I was,
Those
like, going
imps
for.
that you get as a starting gift, they were fucking crazy.
You know
They were
what,
doing
Briar? You were
real ass
telling us.
damage.
You were telling us about that. So when I made my
Yeah.
character on the Steam Deck, I was like, let me pick the imps because Briar said they were awesome. And they're
Yeah.
crazy. I just sat there
Yeah.
and they bleed them so fast. Because it's the imps in the catacombs. It's those dudes.
Oh, those
Yeah, I
guys,
hate
Yeah.
those.
And
those
it's two of
assholes.
2 of them.
Yeah.
They're the real
Ridiculous.
final
Do
bosses.
not like those things either.
Even
the
to
imps
this
were
day, with my
fucking good.
super powerful character, like imps and the birds will still kill me.
Yes.
I-
The
I went
birds
through-
especially.
Yeah.
The 45 vigor.
I kid you not. Like, it's the crazy chain combo. I'll catch. There'll be an imp who'll catch me in a corner, and he'll be like, bam, 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 bam. I'm like, bleed, and then his mate will jump on behind me, and I'm like, I'm dead.
Oh
I've
yeah.
literally got a
Yeah,
half
the
screen
1-2.
health bar, and you've just killed me. You little like little stone rat. I'm like, thanks.
But check out Theralina because she won't win the fight for you because she will spend most of her
I just
time
need someone staying alive. That's
healing.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She'll
Yeah.
spend most of her time staying alive and healing. Every now and then she'll throw a pot at him. That's great. I just wait for her to throw the pot because then they go and fight her and I'm like, okay, good. She'll just sit there and she rolls around like a crazy person and heals.
I think the mimic is still good. It's just not. It's
That's still good.
was.
Yeah. It just
Well,
won't win the game
again,
for you.
if your health stat sucks, your mimic dies.
Tefty pops a mimic and he's got like a smidge
Yeah,
of health.
it was
I
hilarious
want
too
you to
because
fight
like my
Melina
health.
with the current health bar that you
Yeah.
have. What is that her name? It's not. It's like
Oh man, yeah.
I
Melina?
don't
Is that her
plan
name?
on.
Yeah.
I
Melania.
honestly do not plan on leveling
Melania.
up further unless I literally hit a wall that is not going to let
Okay.
me.
I think she might change
This
her mind.
lady.
We'll see.
This one.
Yeah.
Like I said, I like the challenge, and
Yeah.
you know, if I'm taking a bunch of hits, like, well, I need to learn the fight.
No, that's a really good way to play it. I mean, there's definitely elements of like I've like ultimately, as long as people are enjoying the experience, I've loved my time playing through. There are times when I do feel like if I think back to when I played Dark Souls 3, for example, and I got like that was the game that kind of like ignited my love for this sort of genre.
Mhm.
And then like there's a lot of bosses that like I had no choice but to like really, really learn their move patterns. There are definitely some bosses where I've run in and I'll be like, dual katanas, bleed, you're dead in 2 seconds. I'm like, I probably haven't seen most of your moveset. And like sometimes I feel a little bit bad, but I'm like, you know what? I'm still loving the experience. I'm having a great time. And I'm like, there's something weirdly on the opposite end of it, like kind of satisfying about like, I don't know this boss, but you still dead.
Yeah.
But maybe in my new game plus playthrough, I might like put the bleed away and actually try and go and do things like the way they're meant to be.
Once you've had
But
a
New
taste,
Game
though.
Plus, I thought what I might do is just like run to all the big bosses because at that point I might technically be under leveled if I'm in New Game Plus.
I don't
So
think it's
maybe
that
that
much
would be a way.
harder. From
No,
what I
I've heard it's
understand,
a lot harder.
I haven't. I've heard the opposite. I heard it's not that big a difference in difficulty.
Well, what is it? We need to know.
Maybe it depends on how high level you are when you start it, though.
Probably because some people
could be.
like beeline the story and then go to New Game Plus. They're probably like level 80.
Briar, what level were you when you
Spend
beat
up.
the game?
I can't remember now. It was over 150 though.
Okay.
I was like, I want to say I was like 172. I was high.
Sure.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what the average level is for beating the game.
I
'cause,
don't know. It's like all over the place.
you know, when
Maybe
you get-
100.
Yeah, when you get to like the 70s
I was
and
doing
80s, that's already pushing
everything
pretty
I could
high
find,
for
though.
normal Souls games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely.
The
high.
level cap is what, 300?
Is it? I don't know. I haven't looked
I
into
think
it.
so.
Yeah.
There's
And
so
then
much
all the
stuff,
soft
though.
caps in that are raised up higher than a regular
Yeah.
Souls game as well.
Right. Like the there's a couple staffs, they require like 54 intellect. Like that's an
Mhm.
insanely
Mm.
high intellect
Yeah.
staff Yeah.
You get a sword like right at the beginning of the game that's like 50 strength.
Really? I don't remember that one.
Yeah.
Huh. Are those staffs any good, Eric's? That are 54 intellect? Should I just ignore
haven't
those?
used them. I haven't used them too much. There's a really good one that you can get early on in the game, which doesn't have too
Get
high
back to the
requirement,
YouTube
but-
cave.
Yeah, I gotta go check that one out. I'm always the that's why I'm glad that we've got like the team covering it as well, because like I'm in any of these games I'm not a magic boy. I'm just like, I just want a sword. I want to hit this enemy. Like, yeah, but there's cool spells. I'm like, yeah, but I could also pick up this big ass sword and I could hit something. Like, yeah, but no. So yeah, I haven't done too much spell stuff. So I'm not too sure which one that is, but.
See, I've slowly been collecting all the incantations and sorceries and all that, but I haven't been using them because like my intellect hasn't been there. But now I've slowly been specking into intellect, and I had to use it on. Well, I at least had to try. I haven't been successful yet. Going through the study hall when you put the statue in there, I completely forgot about that. Going back there to make the thing invert. And
which is very cool, by the way.
Really cool. Really cool. It's
really awesome.
such a cool little thing that like, oh, this is happening. So that sorcerer's kind of kicking my ass. Sorceress Miriam. She's
I believe I went back being slightly a tad overleveled and may have like couple shot that person, and chat was very angry because they were like, this took me forever, it's so annoying, you didn't even do one of the old phases.
Yeah, like, she's supposed to teleport and all that.
Yeah.
So you killed her before she teleported?
Yep.
Hilarious.
That's amazing.
Oh, I came back and I killed the without inverting the tower. I killed that guy after I leveled up one of my swords. I was like, all right, yeah. So
that guy was a pain in the ass.
Yeah, with his mega arrow constantly being shot at. But I think the second sorceress is even worse. She's tough because of her angle, unless of course you're, slightly overleveled. Go in and
that's the thing
that's the thing.
That's the thing. That's the thing is that in Elden Ring, you can kind of overlevel without even necessarily knowing that you're doing it, because you can miss a spot or like find something later, and that's kind of why overall I think I prefer something like Sekiro, because I find a boss, I have what I have, I can't outlevel, I can't like go get something that's stronger. I have maybe some items that I could use, but I kind of know where I'm at and what I need to do. It's like I have to learn the boss. I'm not underleveled, I'm not overleveled, I have to learn it. So, but of course, Elden Ring is a different experience, and I love what Elden Ring does with the open world, and the boss fights are super cool, but I think in terms of like a combat thing, I prefer.
Sure. You see, that was my main criticism in the beginning, was how when I got the first introduction to the way Elden Ring felt to me, I was disappointed in that it wasn't that experience that was going to give me these like areas that I was going to learn, and then learn this boss, fight that boss, move on to the next area and all that. And when I shed that, then like obviously I fell in love with the game, and I was like, oh my God, this is an incredible experience. I don't know what if I would prefer going back to that though now, that Souls formula, now that I've experienced this insane open world of Elden Ring.
So I will say
always
Elden
level
Ring
up
is
in Souls games.
Elden Ring is a
from
fantastic
Sekiro.
open world.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can farm.
But you
Souls.
don't get access to certain items until you've beat bosses,
Right.
which is similar to Elden Ring as well. But like, there's a lot of things that are open right away to you. I didn't realize how much was available to me in the beginning, honestly.
No,
yeah, like I thought this was kind of
the world is so scary that it kind of encourages you to start small,
right?
It puts you in a bit of a conundrum if you're someone who likes bosses kicking your ass and figuring out how to beat the boss, but you also want to find everything and explore, because you will be overleveled for some parts. There's some bosses that are like kind of always difficult, and they will pretty much always kick your ass no matter what. But yeah, for a lot of it, you'll probably be overleveled.
Oh man, the double gargoyles.
Yeah, they're tough.
That's been
tough for me.
No?
No, this is the problem.
Yeah, I did a second time.
I get just everything kills me.
Yeah.
I had to come back to them. I had to take a break from them and come back to them, probably 5 or 10 hours later. I got a couple other games I want to talk about real quick. One is free right now, so I just wanted to mention it.
Tunic,
it's called what's that?
Sorry,
not Tunic.
Yeah,
Tunic
my
is
bad.
also free, only if you have Game
Game
Pass
Pass.
though. Demon's Tilt is free on the Epic Game Store. So if you have access to a PC, this is a spiritual sequel to like older pinball games like Devil's Crush or Alien Crush. So if you're familiar with those, this has got like that feel. It seems like a spiritual successor. I don't know if any of the same people worked on it or not, but it's free right now, and it's kind of a fun, pinball game. Honestly, like sometimes you want something that's not Elden Ring. You just want something that you can fuck around with while you're
Pinball's
like
fun.
on the phone with your mother or something. So I just wanted to mention that, and I have been playing Tunic a little bit. This game it's really hard to come to this game after Elden Ring because they share so much as far as like exploration, also combat. Like there's so much, and they're both so inspired by Zelda, but like take it to different places.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest with you, I'm not having the reaction to Tunic that I thought I would. I thought I would love this game like right off the bat, but it's just not hitting for me. Part of it is that it looks like Link to the Past, but with like a brown filter on everything, which aesthetically is just not doing it for me. So I don't know. Like I'm gonna keep poking at it, but man, I'm having trouble just finding the fun there. And which sucks because everybody's in love with this game, like
There's
around
no
the
mimic
planet.
tier.
There's no mimic tier to carry me through.
That's the thing about Tunic so it's a game that I think I probably wouldn't love very much. It's a game, one of those kind of games that, like Death's Door, I didn't like Death's Door at all. It bored me.
Really?
Yeah, so it's
okay.
like those kind of games I just don't really like, and I love the way they look, and I love their theme, and like I really want to love them, but they just don't kind of do it for me. So that's what I was worried about with Tunic, is that it might be a similar thing.
My problem with Death's Door is that I found the combat to be so uninteresting that I wasn't engaged. I just wanted, like, I was trying to rush through the combat because I didn't find it interesting.
Sure.
Tunic has better combat, and it has like some cool mechanics in the combat. They're definitely like Souls-like.
That might keep my interest then.
Yeah. And it's got like, it's got that like kind of mysterious world, and does this really cool thing with like pages from a book that you're collecting that teach you how to play the game. Like basically you're like collecting the pages of the game's manual, and it's teaching you how to play the game. But I don't know. There's something about it that I'm just not clicking with. So I'm going to keep poking at it. Hopefully either something will click or I'll figure out why I don't like this exactly.
Post-mortem.
I think it is. I think that's
could be.
really what it is I'm just like, I just want more Elden Ring,
I'm scared to go into Ghostwire Tokyo because it's a open world game. So going from Elden Ring into, I think any open world game right now would be kind of rough.
You're gonna need a gaming cleanse.
Yeah.
Maybe pinball.
A
Maybe
gaming colonic.
Yeah, something totally different. Although, if I go play Strangers of Paradise and I'm just running around going chaos everywhere, maybe that would
Yeah.
Chaos. That game looks so ridiculous. I've got to pick that up soon.
I'm really excited to jump into it.
Yeah. Like it looks like 9 out of 10 on the fucking crazy ass game scale. Like just ballistically fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Anything else this week we want to chat about?
I don't know. We were supposed to be hearing about Sony's answer to Game Pass. Like, any second now.
A lot of rumblings about that. Yeah.
Project What is it called? Spartan?
Spartacus, I think. Yeah.
Any minute now, right?
It's apparently.
I mean, what do they have to do to make you get interested? Like first-party games for free if you subscribe?
I mean, if they have a service and it doesn't include first-party games, then I'm going to be like, why am I paying for a Sony service? Right?
Yeah.
I have no interest in the PS Now service, which is playing games on their like servers, right? It's like that's not interesting to me.
Apparently, some of them you can download. Like, yeah. We as a podcast should probably investigate that a bit more because we'll bring that up, and then other people who have used it recently will be like, "That's not how it is, man." So, but still, the Sony stuff tends to be more premium and more constricted in general.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm expecting, and I don't expect it to be the price level of Game Pass, which it kind of needs to be.
I'm not finding the value in Game Pass right now,
Yeah.
so I'm not super open to
Because Elden Ring.
adding another.
Yeah.
Possibly. I mean, I'm just the last game that I put a lot of time into on Game Pass, aside from Tunic, was Halo, and I didn't love Halo, and I think I put like 40 hours into that max, and I was kind of done with it. And like paying, what is the price of the Xbox service now? Is it $15, $16 a month?
I think for the Ultimate, it's 15, 16, yeah,
15.
maybe 20. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not finding the value right now.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that's why you can unsubscribe
Maybe
if you're paying monthly.
Yeah, when something
And
new
come
comes
back to
out,
it.
I think I'll.
That's the beauty of
back
it.
to
A
it,
lot of
yeah.
people think of like, oh man, now I'm tied to a $15 a month for the rest of my life. It's like, no, you're not. Just unsub.
Yeah.
You know, come back to it
Yeah.
when you're
Gonna
interested.
unsub for a bit.
Yeah.
Just like when I unsubbed to Google Stadia after paying for it for 2 years and never playing a game on it.
Oh dear.
That's another hot
Yeah.
topic.
What's
When you slam Stadia and people are big Stadia fans, get ready.
I've seen dedicated Stadia Twitter accounts. I've seen it.
You're gonna catch some Will Smith hands, is what
Look.
I'm saying.
I'm sorry, that pricing model was a fucking loser from the get-go. And if you couldn't see it, and you couldn't see Google's history of just abandoning services,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry if you made a poor decision, but it's not my fault, and I'm going to keep making fun of it.
You know what is pretty balla, actually? It's some news that was like, I think it happened today. So you know how it's maybe a thing for Thursday, but I think it's interesting. There were a bunch of takedowns by the people who were lying about Destiny related videos.
Sure. Yeah, being
Bungie
official.
is taking the matter to court.
Oh.
Yeah, they
legal.
said-
I'm sorry. Can you catch me up on this? Because I'm not actually familiar with this topic.
So there were a bunch of takedowns on YouTubers, which we
Remember for
talked about on
Destiny?
Thursday.
Destiny soundtrack stuff, Briar? Remember?
Yes. Okay. The soundtrack. Okay. So
Yeah.
it wasn't just people who.
Oh,
like,
it was
Life.
everything. No, it was people just uploading like the TWAB, them reading the TWAB. They were getting takedowns. If you
Yeah.
made a video about
Okay.
Destiny that had like anything to do with Destiny in your video,
Okay.
it was all the fake.
They were
takedowns.
literally
So who's
impersonating.
lying? Where are the liars?
It wasn't
people-
Bungie.
Yeah, it wasn't Bungie. They were literally
Oh, so
impersonating.
they're not taking YouTubers to court. They're taking the people who did this to court.
They're trying
Yeah.
to find out who was responsible. Yeah.
Good.
So they're taking it to court
Good.
to find out what's going on, because I think they said that there was like irreputable damage done to their community and the artists and
Man.
all of that. And I'm like, good for you, Bungie. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
That is good,
Like,
because if there
cool.
are actual consequences to this documented, maybe it keeps people from doing it, not just in our community, but in other communities as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the YouTube copyright system sucks.
It is the
Mm.
worst system. It's literally designed like not to aid the creators. It's like the polar opposite, because you can submit a claim with basically nothing, and then it's damaged your channel, and then you have to try and get rid of it. And if you can't get the person to appeal it, you have to wait like 3 months to 6 months, and you've got limited. It's like such a stupid system. It's like surely the system should try and protect creators who have built. Yeah.
It's not at all what it's
YouTube
meant to
is
do.
built on creators. It should like support the creators. So it's crazy that it wouldn't
No,
do
and
that,
it's
you know?
super hard to get a hold of YouTube. Like,
Well, so that was
Yeah.
actually part of what Bungie was saying, is that they initially reached out to someone at YouTube, their YouTube rep, to find out what's going on, out of office email. Then they reached out to like head
were
of
playing
Google,
Elden
out
Ring.
of office email.
They were also
So
playing Elden
they
Ring.
couldn't get a hold of anyone. So then they were like, fine, we'll take you to court. God damn it. So I'm kind of hoping that with them, because I'm pretty sure they're taking YouTube to court to find out what's going on.
Wow.
I'm
Oh, okay.
hoping that
Yeah,
they
they would
kind
have.
of,
They'd have to have the actual name of the person who submitted a copyright claim, right? You can't just like be
Yeah.
like, you know, Will Smith's right hand slap 69 is representing SC or CSS, whatever this, you know what I'm saying.
CSC. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this could potentially change that. I don't know if it will, but the fact that like a massive company is taking YouTube to court to figure it out and go like, hey, this system sucks. I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe. It's interesting. It's definitely interesting.
good.
Yeah,
Definitely interesting.
definitely. Well, on that note, SideQuest complete, right?
Yeah.
I think
Ding.
so. I'm gonna go play Elden Ring.
Same.
Time to go to the snow.
Oh.
Snow jam.
All right, that's the episode. Thank you so much for watching and hanging out. Shout out to our Patreon members and our Twitch subs for supporting the shows here on DCP. You guys are awesome. And
Yeah, thank you guys.
tweet us your builds for Elden Ring if you're playing.
Yeah, tweet us anything to do with Elden Ring, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Or Will Smith slapping people.
There you go. Will Smith's
That true.
memes. Yeah.
Also acceptable.
All right. Bye, everyone. See you next time.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye.